Hello YouTube, this is Morgan, Airspeed Prime here with my next Boruto anime review. This one's going to be for episode 152, which is called Developing One's Medical Ninjutsu. So yeah, this was a very fun kind of solo episode. I think an episode like this highlights exactly the sort of thing that we want when the anime has to do these sort of less important episodes. The episodes that aren't directly covering the new manga content or dealing with like a bigger plot. It's stuff like this, of one of your main characters, Sarada, dealing with a topic we haven't really dealt with in Boruto, that being medical ninjutsu, and using it as a way to develop the different traits of Sarada. In this case, that being that, for the most part, she tends to sort of be this perfect student. Aces everything, is sort of good at basically every jutsu. So what does she do when she finally sort of encounters something that she's not particularly immediately talented at? And I thought they got a really nice moment out of this episode at the end, with Sarada admitting, like in front of everyone, that I'm not good at this. I apologize for everything that happened. Mistakes led to everything looking like I was good at medical ninjutsu, but I'm actually not. And then they add to that with, I think, another one of the good scenes was just her going over to Inojin and just asking, can you give me some tips? That was just a really, really nice scene of just, usually she doesn't need to do that. Usually it's people going over to her to ask her for advice. Now she has to do that with others and realize that it's not a problem to not be good at something. And that was why the scene with Naruto was so significant. She looks up to him as if he is this perfect Hokage, because he is, he is her idol, basically. That's what she dreams to be. The Hokage who can, be on that same level as him. And of course that was added to by the fact that she overheard like Inojin and Shikadai kind of talking about Naruto, but it was actually just his card in the game. They don't actually think Naruto's perfect. So Naruto just kind of pointing at that, like, yeah, it doesn't matter if you're not good at medical ninjutsu, because like I can't do any medical ninjutsu. And she's like, wait, what? And then it's at that point she kind of realizes that, like, oh, that's why my mom was so important on the team, because she did all of the medical ninjutsu herself. So, that importance of, like, Naruto had other people to back him up, and obviously that's what they're setting up with, like, Boruto and Sarada. Like, Boruto wants to be the supporting shadow to Sarada's, fire shadow Hokage. So yeah, that was really well done. In that, like, I didn't expect it at the start of the episode, because it was very humor, kind of comedy based for most of it. It was just like a lot of funny faces from Sarada as she's super worried about this. But I thought they brought it home very well with just that important character arc of, like, you feel she won't be as maybe sort of like cocky about some of this stuff anymore. She'll be more, maybe humble about her abilities, and like be more willing to ask others from other teams for help and advice on things. But they still seem to commit to the idea that she is going to be the medical ninja on the team, because the other important scene was, of course, Shizune coming in and, basically kind of telling her, it was like, yeah, like, your mom wasn't good at medical ninjutsu at first either. She trained under Tsunade, and it was very, very difficult, but she had a drive and a passion to make it happen. And Sarada's like, wait, like, why? What drove her so much to make it happen throughout all that hard training? And when she talks to Sarada, it's Sakura, it's a great scene, because the answer from Sakura is perfect. It's just, I wanted to become strong. I didn't want to look at Naruto and Sasuke's backs the whole time. Instead, I wanted to support them, beside them, at times be able to lead from the front. And she made it happen, even though the training was hard. And it's just that highlight of, like, you don't have to be talented at something immediately, but if you put the passion in, you can make it happen. So medical ninjutsu is going to be that thing for Sarada that she will have to struggle at, but she likely will get it. So that worked really well, and she finally now has this, I suppose, extra appreciation for Sakura, she's always known that, like, of course she's a great medical ninja, but like getting to see it up close, like the emergency, and then they watch like her actually performing the jutsu there to save that guy's life, it just kind of hit home of like, yeah, like when you're that dependable, when you are the ace medical ninja, like you get to these moments where like you are the hero by saving someone. It's not all about just winning the fights. That there's so much value in just being able to save people in that way, heal people. So I thought that worked really well. That like the episode could have been just this kind of funny kind of gimmick thing, and it just like, oh, that was nice, but they didn't really do anything. It actually had like an importance to it at the end. Like, of course, we still want to have Sarada find out about Sasuke's past, of like the Uchiha massacre and basically everything he went through on his journey of like leaving the village and like Naruto bringing him back. I think that's going to be a very significant thing when they actually properly find out about that full story, which they've sort of teased in some of the other arcs, that like he's close to maybe being willing to tell them, but I want to see what their reactions are. Like Boruto needs to hear it because he obviously looks up to Sasuke, and I think it's important for Sarada to also hear about it as well, to kind of understand her father better, but also to understand Naruto more, about like, here was this thing that really like drove Naruto to become strong, which was just his devotion to getting Sasuke back. Like that will be a very powerful moment when we do finally get it. But as for the like rest of the episode, I really liked the way they did just the kind of comedy antics to get to the situation where everyone thought Sarada was very good at medical ninjutsu, of just, someone fumbling with the thing and it falling into Sarada's hand, Boruto scaring her and her like slamming the desk, and again it just the one that was done well by someone else ending up in front of her. The Iwabe one was a bit weird in that, like, I looked at it a couple of times and was kind of like, I get what they're going for here, but I don't know how logical this actually is. In that, what happens is like Iwabe completes his. He separates the coffee from the milk, and he's basically done it. And then he looks up and is like, "Oh, I'm thirsty," and just no look grabs Sarada's glass, which is the mixed together one. She hasn't separated it. He takes a drink, realizes he's made a mistake, puts her cup down next to himself, and then pushes his one over to her. I think they could have shown it like visually a little bit better to make it like a more like honest mistake. As it is, it seems a little bit like forced. I didn't quite get what they were going for, but either way, it made it look like Sarada had done it when she actually hadn't. And it obviously built up to the idea of, everyone thinks like, oh, none of us have been able to get any of these right, but Sarada's got it all right. Let's do a big demonstration in front of Naruto and everyone. Do the final thing. This is a fish. Make it move. And she ends up burning it in front of everyone. She panics so much that she burns the fish, and it's this great moment because I love the way that what they did with the music. They played very serious music, as this was like Sarada's like death march type thing of this terrible situation she's in. How did it come to this? And then once you realize she is not going to turn this around, the music just changes to just like failure music, and it's like, oh no, this is such a bad situation for Sarada in front of everyone. And it led to like the emotional, like just like coming clean about the whole thing. Like she hadn't actually done anything wrong. It was all a mistake. Because they could have done this where like she like stole people's things and made it look like she was this way herself, like that she had done this like purposefully. But because all of it was just an accident, how she ended up looking like this, it helped to, I think, the tone of the episode to feel, so you felt sorry for Sarada, and the turnaround was actually a really nice moment of her going to Inojin, getting advice from the others, and so on. It also like was cool to just see like, okay, so Inojin actually seems to be one of the better ones at it. He made mistakes earlier on, but like by the end of the session, it seemed like he was one of the better medical kind of ninjutsu practitioners. Similarly, Iwabe was very good at it as well, because we know he's very good at practical stuff and not so good at written exams. So that was nice to see, in that like of that team you were wondering like, should it really be him? Because he's like their sort of main fighter. Like, I know Metal can go up front, and like Denki is more the support tactics. If Denki probably had better control over his chakra, you'd maybe want it to be him, just because he can't seem to do power moves, but like him being able to like use chakra to a certain level, he could be suited to that. But I get it. He sort of like Iwabe sort of has to be the general jutsu specialist of that team because of the limitations of the other two. So that was actually, I think, quite well done, the inclusion of him, and then seeing the other members of the other teams as well, sort of being pretty good at it. And yeah, Sarada was actually sort of the worst in the group at it, so it was a very different experience, and it worked overall for the episode. And yeah, I think that the inclusion of the scene with Naruto, the inclusion of that scene with Sakura, really helped to bring the episode together and make it feel important and not just an episode for the sake of an episode, an actual filler episode. This one actually had enough to where you'd say, okay, even if you only check out manga focused episodes, this one is actually worth watching because it's pretty good on the character side of things. And even like Boruto and like Shikadai and Mitsuki had like a fun little involvement of just like, they weren't involved in this, but then they finish their work early and go out. Boruto messes with Sarada, and then as their excuse they're like, oh, we came over here to observe, and Boruto just ends up making it worse for Sarada, as like he hypes her up so much, and usually it'd be okay, but it just draws way too much attention to herself, and she got herself in real deep there with the way things went. Yeah, there was no like real subplot or anything like that to the episode. It was just like, okay, cool. Like, they're keeping the thing going of like Tsunade's, like, I suppose, dream for the way the team should be, of like every team has a medical ninja specialist on the team, and they're, you know, going in for that here. They haven't quite had the time with everything that's happened. Here's the first major session, and, you know, I suppose these are the characters who are ultimately going to be working on medical ninjutsu, so we know who the medics are going forward. So that was important, I think, to get. But yeah, I think that's everything I wanted to say about this episode. Next week's episode, I'm a little bit cautious about, in that, like, okay, it's some of the teams we don't get too much focus on. It's going to be the return of the samurai girl we met not too long ago, so that team is going to be interesting to see again, like, obviously minus Sumire, but including the samurai girl. So, you know, it could be interesting. I'm not sure necessarily about the plot of the episode. It looks like just some sort of a game between like two of the teams, but it's always nice to, I suppose, get more focus on those characters, and they were definitely a sort of like work in progress team in terms of like all of their jutsu working well together. So, you know, it could be interesting. Obviously, I assume we're now into a good few episodes of just, you know, maybe one-shot episodes, maybe some much smaller arcs, before, as the intro would suggest, we do probably cut back to the manga content. So, again, these intros tend to last about, you know, 25, 26 episodes, so we'll likely have maybe 10 or so episodes of this. We'll maybe cut back and do the next manga arc for like 4 or 5 episodes, and then it does look like we're going to go into the arc after that as well, because Kawaki is included in the intro quite heavily. So, you know, I think we'll be getting a little bit more manga content than maybe we'll expect. I don't think we'll be going another like 50 to 100 episodes without any of that stuff. So that's pretty good to see. But yeah, they're my thoughts on the episode. In the comments, let me know what your thoughts were. But that's been the video. Thanks for watching, and bye.